Hello and welcome to the Hidden Door live show. Hidden Door is an alternative arts organisation that aims to shine a light on the amazing emerging artists and up and coming creative talent in Scotland. We normally do this through our festival we put on every year in Edinburgh, but we had to postpone it this year due to reasons you can probably figure out. So we decided to do this instead. And there's so much talent out there. We feel that even though pretty much all cultural spaces have been shut down, we can at least try and be creative with what we've got left. So through all this lockdown, we don't want to forget about the artists, the poets, the filmmakers, musicians, dancers, and theatre makers. These are the people that make this city and this country so special. We want to keep chatting to them, keep finding out about what they're doing, and connecting them to our audience, to their audience, which is you. So thank you so much for tuning in and checking this out tonight. Really appreciate it. We'll be doing these shows once a week, alternating between Facebook and Instagram, just to keep things a little bit varied. And we'll be bringing you performances and film clips, interviews and chats, taking the opportunity to get to know some of these amazing artists and maybe get a little sense of what's going on behind the scenes and maybe what's going on inside their heads. My name's David Martin, and I'm the creative director of Hidden Door, and I'll be introducing you to lots of interesting people. But of course, it's not just me doing the show. There's a great team working on this behind the scenes. So sometimes you might occasionally get a little glimpse of some of them. And also there's a fantastic team working on Hidden Door generally, working on actually making the festival itself. And yes, you might be quite pleased to hear that we have actually just started the ball rolling again to get the festival start getting the festival organised for next year. It's about a year away when we'll be doing Hidden Door, and it makes me feel really, really happy to know that we're actually getting those wheels turning, getting the ball rolling, getting the festival rolling, whatever it is. But it's going to be happening, and all of these things that we're doing on the live show are leading towards the festival, which we will be bringing you and working towards. So it's very, very exciting stuff. Basically, you can chat to us on the comments. You can send us some comments, let us know what you think of the stuff that we're showing you. Don't be shy, the more comments, the better. It's really, really nice to hear what you have to say and what you think. But let's just get things started now. I'll tell you what we're doing for this show tonight. I'll be introducing you to award-winning animator Kat Bruce and Chell Young, graduate artist, who's definitely one to watch. Plus, we'll catch a glimpse into the shrinking worlds of artists Jenny Martin, Lotte Fisher, Martin Elden, and we'll be talking to theatre company Tortoise in a nutshell. Livening all of this up will be live music by magical electro pop chanteuse Grisly Faye, who will also be interviewing a little bit later on in the show. I thought we should start the show really by watching one of her amazing videos. This is Fall For Me Once More by Grisly Faye. So that was Fall for Me Once More by Grisly Faye. We're going to be speaking to her a bit later, and she's going to be performing for us live as well on the live show, which will be amazing. But now I'm really excited to be bringing onto the show Kat Bruce. Kat is an award-winning director and animator from the Scottish Highlands. She started out as a model maker and assistant animator of Disney Junior, but has gone on to direct a number of animated shorts, music videos, and commercials as a freelance animator. Kat's short film No Place Like Home won the 2016 BAFTA Scotland Award in the animation category. She's made work for the Scottish Gallery of Modern Art and designed animated material for the National Theatre of Scotland's production of Panopticon. She's been selected for the judging panel for Scottish BAFTA animated shorts and was recently on a discussion panel for a retrospective of Scottish animation programmed and presented by the Film House Edinburgh. In short, Kat Bruce is Scottish animation royalty. Before we meet Kat, though, let's play a clip from that award-winning film, No Place Like Home.
I think we're going near where my Auntie Geraldine lives. She has a big dog. It's called Colin, but it had puppies, so they still call it Colin now because it's a really good name for a dog. Do you like that name? I do. I like my friend's name too. He's called Wendell. It sounds like windmill, but he's moving to Canada. I don't know if they have any windmills there. Do you know where you're moving to yet? Can I see that? Oh. Are you building another turbine? Is it for the stream? I love doing building. Can I help you make it?
No.
Hi, Kat. Lovely to have you on the show. How are you?
Hi, David. I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm pretty good, I think. I want to ask you a few questions about this amazing film we just saw a clip from. It's obviously a huge investment to make a film like this, huge investment of time. So you must really have cared about the story and the idea behind it. Can you maybe sum up for us what the film's about and kind of where the idea to make it came from?
Well, there's lots of different things going on. There's lots of different themes, but the main kind of thing, the film's kind of about displacement. And I was reading a lot at the time about Highland clearances. And I wanted to sort of make this kind of more like from one person's perspective, what that might be like. And it should be sort of timeless. You know, I wanted it to not look like it was in any particular place in any particular time. You know, it wasn't history or future, or it could be any of these things. So that's kind of what I was thinking when I was making it.
Yeah, it's amazing. And a lot of the film seems to be kind of centered on or focused on the characters and their kind of relationship. How did you kind of dream up the characters themselves? Do you do the drawings? Do you make little models? You know, were they based on people that you know?
Well, so so it started off with sort of little drawings and cartoons of these two characters, which were sort of loosely based around certain aspects of mine and my child's relationship. You know, it was like a magnified example of certain examples of, you know, where you're just trying to get on with something as a parent or an adult, and this kid wants to help, and you know it's just going to be a hindrance and take like 10 times as long, and it's going to be done terribly if you let the child in to help. And it's that kind of aspect of that feeling of like, I just want to get this done, and this child kind of coming and really like just innocently wanting to help, and we should let them help, but we're like, no, I'm grumpy.
It must be really confusing for a child to have a stop motion animator as a parent, someone who plays with dolls and puppets and figures for a living,
Yeah.
and then they're not allowed to join in. That must be hard for them.
Yeah, I know. It's like you're just taking that, when you're a kid and you like go into the world, it's just taking that and just being serious about it. But it's the same thing. You're just pretending.
It's amazing. And the relationship, what I loved when I was watching the film was the relationship's really believable.
Hmm.
And I was wondering how, as an animator, you kind of develop your characters. I can sort of imagine how, like, a film director would direct kind of real human actors to get across a particular idea of a relationship. But how, as an animator, do you plan that? How do you make that come to life?
Well, I mean, animation is really great because you have so much control over every little detail. It's really different from, I mean, I've never directed live action, but I'm assuming it's really different from live action where you go, you direct your actors, can you do it like this? Or can you do it again more like this? Whereas animation, you're not just directing, you're acting through these puppets. So you're acting through a mask, but it's not just a mask, it's like another being. So you're literally this other character, not literally, you're this other character, and you're sort of able to just be someone else, but also in slow motion. So there's like all this control. So it's the ultimate control freak's kind of job, I guess.
That sounds amazing. Let's watch another clip, actually, another short clip, and I'll ask you a couple more questions.
Okay.
Okay, so seen another clip of the film. You'll probably see actually on the Facebook Live stream that we're doing, some of the kind of links to Kat's work should be appearing. So if you're interested in checking out the film, you can watch the full film online, and it's definitely worth a watch. It's a real kind of feat. And through the film, Kat, there seems to be kind of particular kind of themes developing. Can you say a little bit about that, a bit more about what you were interested in getting across with this major piece of work?
Well, I think this clip that we just watched is an example of one of the themes, which is Sona's, the main character Sona's sort of just going into denial about this situation. You see, she's being evicted. It's the final, notice, and she's just like shutting everything out in a similar way to how she kind of shuts out the child and doesn't want to, pass on any knowledge. It's that kind of thing. But she's also just trying to carry on as normal. And so then she's not preparing in any way. So she's not prepared for this, for her eviction. She's just literally locking herself in and pretending it's not happening.
Yeah. Also, in that clip, I was quite fascinated to see the way you'd kind of dealt with the fire. How do you do that as an animator?
Yeah, so you're animating fire frame by frame. So it's like there was a lot of, so the cinematographer Mihail Ursu was really good at like all these kind of technical things. So there was a lot of lighting involved, and we had to have these bulbs rigged up to be dimmed frame by frame, and there was lots of gels, like coloured gels, just kind of flickering away. But in post-production, we had Hazel Lishchinska, who was doing these After Effect flames and stuff as well, and just did an amazing job. Also, while there, like in other scenes where there's more fire, there's camera moves, and she also had to add flames in post-production. Sort of, it was all very complicated and impressive on her part.
It sounds that. I want to ask you a few more technical questions, but one more clip, I think, and then I'll ask you a couple more bits about how you made it.
Okay.
So let's watch one more clip.
It's okay, I'll help. I don't mind. I can pick up lots of things very
No,
neatly.
Mary. Oh. Mary! Stop messing about with that.
I wasn't messing about. I was just making
Enough
it.
of your nonsense. Away you go.
So I suppose the question that everyone wants to ask really is how long it takes, from start to finish.
Well, so stop motion, it can take a long time. This 12-minute film took, I think we started, I can't quite remember when we started the development. It was at the start of the year, so there's maybe a couple of months of story development. We started pre-production, which would be storyboarding and animatic and designs and everything in May. We finished the film in October. But that's relatively quick, I think, for as well. It was quite a small team. So yeah, that was quite quick for that kind of thing.
Yeah, amazing. And the puppets themselves, can you say a bit more about them? Like, what are they made of and how do you work them?
Oh, I'll show you the puppets. This is Sona, and this is how big she is in comparison to me. But you don't know how big I am, so I suppose. Yeah.
Be a giant.
I might imagine that. So this is her, and a woman called Anya Woods actually made these from the concept designs and maquettes that I'd given her, and inside is a ball and socket armature, so you can sort of move her wherever you kind of want to move her. Amazing. And they're all all these clothes are all sewn in. Like little buttons. It's just amazing detail. She did a really good job. The eyebrows and things are sort of plasticine, and the mouth were stick-on mouth for lip syncing. For each vowel and each consonant has a little kind of mouth shape that you just stick on. So
I think if people watch the film now, just having seen that, it will actually just blow their minds to see how much you've done. The set as well is quite incredible. I'm really interested in the set, and it kind of links to a few of the other artists we're going to talk to tonight. You've made a really sort of convincing world. But was there any kind of technical challenges in terms of making the set for the film?
Well, it was I was going to say it's lucky because this happened to be Barbie scale. It wasn't intentional, but she just happened to be kind of a similar scale to a Barbie. So
Barbie's not aged well.
Props. I think she's aged well. Some of the props there was a car, for instance, that we just kind of repurposed. We made it completely different, but we didn't have to build it, so that was good. For certain things you can just find, like found objects. Ailsa Williams was she was the production designer, and she made most of it. She built the house, she made most of the props. But I love, making props as well. My favorite thing is making the props look really used or lived in, like dirtying them up, and so they've got their own kind of life, all these props. Like, for instance, you can find, the Meadows Festival, how there's all these little stalls, and you can find all these little miniatures. Can you see that? There's like little teapots and stuff.
It's amazing.
Just dirtying them all up and making them look kind of the set.
That's great. And was there any particular, in terms of filming the set, any kind of things you had to kind of do with the camera to kind of make that really work?
Yes, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you a picture.
Picture is on camera.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this was for a 4-second shot as a shelf shot. Which I think, are we gonna see this clip, or have we just seen it?
We're not going to see this clip.
Have we seen it? The shelf shot.
I don't know.
We're gonna see it in a minute, right? We're gonna see it in a minute. It's 4 seconds long, and one of the challenges of that was we had to build this whole kind of other rig for this 1 4-second shot. And I didn't even think about it. It was like a storyboard. I storyboarded this shot, and it was like from the point of view of behind the shelf of like Sonna's hand raking in a little bucket.
That's cool, Kat. I don't think we're going to play the shot, and I think actually Costas, who's supposed to be kind of queuing up the shot, we can hear him murmuring on the background of the live show. So the viewers who are watching this, who's that guy in the background? That's our technical guru, Costas, just sort of murmuring away. Costas, we can hear you. So we're going to move things on, actually, Kat, if that's okay.
Okay.
I wanted to just ask you if you've got any kind of upcoming projects in the pipeline, anything that you want to tell us about.
Recently, the last thing I've done is this music video for Ingrid Henderson, and she's for the Scottish Natural Heritage, and you can see that online now. It's called Message in a Bottle. And then upcoming from that is just some more music video projects.
Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, Kat. It's been really nice to have you on the show. Guys, if you want to watch the full film, we'll have the link to it on the Facebook post. But we're going to move things on now. I want to bring on our next guest to the show. She's a recent graduate from Edinburgh College of Art. In my opinion, one of Scotland's most exciting new artists, and definitely one to watch. Let's have a look at some images. Chell Young graduated from Edinburgh College of Art in 2019 with a first-class honours, was awarded the John Kinross Scholarship, which involved a research trip to Florence. She's invited to be part of the Edinburgh Sculpture Workshop Graduate Award Programme, has had several exhibitions since graduating, including one at the Talbot Rice Gallery. She works with simple, humble materials like card and paper to create meticulous, realistic, small-scale interiors, which she presents to the viewer either as sculptural forms or through photography and film. Her work centres around the concept of home, but these familiar interiors often set the stage for dystopian and unsettling realities through the use of visually deceptive devices. Let's welcome Chell. Hi, Chell. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I have to confess that I really love your work. When I first saw it, actually, basically we were doing our kind of call for proposals for the Hidden Door visual art program, and Chell's work was one of the proposals that came through to us, and we were watching it or looking at all the proposed art projects on a video projector, and the panel were kind of we were kind of scrolling through all these images, and Chell's images came up, and I literally just couldn't believe it. And I kind of got up out my chair, and I was kind of looking at your picture, and I was just like, what is this? And I couldn't believe that you hadn't done some Photoshop jiggery pokery, that these were just straight up images. And I love that you didn't use Photoshop to make these. They're so impressive. Actually, do you want to pick a piece and kind of tell us a little bit about it in your own way?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So I'll start by talking about my photographic piece, Flood. And this piece is part of a series of photographic works and sculptures that I call Fragile Realities. And this body of work actually stemmed from being a student in Edinburgh and living in a tenement flat in Marchmont with big, beautiful bay windows. And I've always really loved the charm of these old buildings, and I think they're really desirable places to live. But especially as a student, you tend to end up in places that are kind of falling apart. So there was always leaks and things that would stop working, and you would pay quite a lot to live in a pretty shabby place. So on one occasion, our ceiling actually caved in our bathroom, and I did recreate that scene in one of the other pieces from this work. So I wanted to start creating images of the ideal home, and then going through the process of picking it apart and starting to erode that idea of middle-class security. So I would subject these spaces to natural disasters and catastrophes, which are sometimes evocative of climate issues and sometimes just a little worrying and unsettling. So the photographs and films I produce are also quite visually pleasing and intentionally cinematic. So they offer a protected space in which to consider like the uncomfortable situations. So I make a point of never altering or digitally manipulating my work. So this model was photographed overlooking Edinburgh Castle from my studio in Edinburgh College of Art. And I think the fact that everything is physical and you can see the brushstrokes and textures makes it feel very real, whilst also feeling more impossible in a way. So,
and how did you do the water?
So it's just like a single sheet of plastic, cellophane. So everything is very basic materials. Like I just, find a material that works and does the job, and I use it.
Yeah, amazing. Where do you get inspiration for stuff like this? Do you obsess over film sets? Are you a Doll's House enthusiast?
Yeah, no. So I get my inspiration from all over the place. I've been massively influenced by film and theatre, as well as stop motion animated movies, for sure. I first became interested in the use of model spaces for film with directors like Wes Anderson, who often uses models to add aesthetic charm. But I'm also interested in how you can manipulate a space and trick the viewer into believing quite impossible scenes through the use of scale and different materials.
Yeah, I was definitely manipulated and tricked.
Yeah.
Your work is really meticulous, and you must have amazing patience. Have you ever just sort of lost it and stomped on something that you've worked on for ages?
I haven't actually ever, been pushed to the point where I've intentionally destroyed anything, but I definitely have accidentally destroyed things, and that has been quite upsetting.
Yeah,
but I really struggle with my patience. Honestly, sometimes it's quite hard. When you're getting more and more detailed and more focused in. So I try and mix it up and do some more expressive work as well. For Hidden Door Festival, I have been making some ceramic and metal sculptures, which kind of take architecture, a more kind of loose interrogation of architecture, and less all focused on the details. So learning to be patient in different ways, I guess.
It's interesting to hear about your work changing. So,
yeah.
In terms of you seem to kind of really delight in making these kind of tiny worlds. But one of the themes that we're wanting to kind of get at with this show is kind of what's happening to people during lockdown. Do you feel during lockdown your actual real life world is changing at all?
Yeah, I have, in a lot of different ways. In one sense, for the first time, we've all obviously had to isolate ourselves in our own little bubbles, and our day-to-day experiences have shrunk down. So I found myself really getting to know my surrounding area in a more intimate way. I've been going on the same walk for almost every day for 11 weeks. And I actually appreciate it more each time, and I notice more things. So I do feel like my world is smaller, but I'm really finding myself appreciating the smaller details and everything. And I also feel so connected to everyone, like all my friends and family across the world. And it really does feel like a global community right now where we can all live in each other's pockets, like literally. So yeah, no, I do feel like it is getting smaller, but in a good way.
And this concept of home and homeliness is central to the strength of the unnerving realities that you stage.
Yeah.
During lockdown, kind of home is now more than ever needed to be a place of safety and stability, maybe. And have your ideas about home changed during the lockdown? Will this maybe have an effect on how you make your new work?
Yeah, I think it has in a lot of ways. Having to stay in one place and spend all of your time at home makes you appreciate it, and that you can. And home isn't just like where you make your dinner and sleep at night. It's become like your entire existence. So I found myself, like, as a young person, I found myself evaluating for the first time what home really means to me personally and like what I want it to mean. So yeah, I think everyone will come out feeling very differently about it. But yeah, I feel like I've been seeing it like as a safety net, but also and like a sanctuary, but also kind of it can be quite claustrophobic at times. And claustrophobia is something I focus on in my work a fair bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see shifts in how people feel about it, and it will definitely influence my work for sure.
Yeah, there's definitely a sort of psychological kind of relationship with everyday spaces in your work, and this kind of pandemic and the need to stay indoors has had an impact on our psychological relationship with architectural spaces. And yeah, you could maybe see that maybe inspiring future projects.
Yeah, no, I can. I mean, I've already started making work like specifically in relation to where I am right now. Like I've started making like little versions of stuff, which you can see on my Instagram. And I'm sure so quite literally, yes, it is definitely influencing my work. But I have been becoming more engaged like with my immediate surroundings. So that idea of focusing your attention inward and really appreciating all the tiny details of where you are right now. And what you're saying, like what I was saying before about how spaces have been kind of taking on different feelings or different meanings, like feeling like a safety net and feeling like a claustrophobic space, or like your home can be quite a lonely place nowadays as well. So it's just kind of, I think all of these themes are definitely going to creep in to my work more. And I can definitely see that happening for sure.
Yeah. Well, listen, I mean, I really love your work, and I'd recommend anyone watching this to check out your website. There's a fantastic video on there, I think, called Studio.
Yes.
Which, again, when I saw it, I had to watch it twice. I was just like, I don't actually believe this. So it's been a real pleasure to chat to you, Chell, and I really can't wait to see what you do for Hidden Door Festival. Hidden Door Festival is made for people like you, and just really privileged to have you as part of it. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. Okay, so you'll see we've kind of got this theme for the show, this idea of a shrinking world, and we thought it might be interesting to ask a few artists how they are experiencing the shrinkage. So we made this little feature video of some artists working at home.
I'm Jenny Martin, and since lockdown my world has shrunk, so I have decided to start finding inspiration in the house and the world directly around me. So I've been making some drawings and now some prints of my cat. So I filled some sketchbooks with drawings of my cat, mainly sleeping, but sometimes running away from the dog, which we've got. And from these drawings, I made some lino cut plates, which you cut from squares of lino and you gouge out of them, and then you can take some prints. So I'm going to take a print of one just now and you can see what I've done. So I've got a little press here which used to be a craft machine for crafters to do sort of die cutting, but I've changed it and turned it into a printing press. I've added a piece of MDF and I've put a felt blanket on it, and it's made it into a small improvised printing press that I can use to take prints from. So normally you would use a big cast iron machine, but instead I've just got this little thing here, but it actually works quite well. You can't print very big on it, so it's quite a domestic scale, but I quite like that because it feels sort of relevant and appropriate for this strange time that we're in at the moment, which kind of is forcing us all to be more at home and more in our own sort of enclosed space. So I've run it through the press, and then when I peel it off, you can see that is a little lino cut of my cat. And if you come over here, you can see some other prints that I've made using maybe some colour and some different compositions of my cat. Thanks for listening and watching. Bye bye.
Hi, my name is Martin Elden, and my world has shrunk in a number of ways since this lockdown started. You find me here in my kitchen studio, sitting behind one of the artworks that I've been making, which pretty much encapsulates that whole idea. If you give me a couple of seconds, I'll flip this round and show you a little bit more. As I was saying, I set up a little studio on my kitchen table and was inspired for various reasons to start making this model, which is the front of the flower shop that features in Vertigo, the Alfred Hitchcock movie. So yeah, lots of lovely little details in it and things like that, which I'm kind of hoping to achieve. I've made little test carnations and things. And yeah, this is basically just a sort of maquette, if you like. And then I am going to sort of finalize and hopefully do some sort of molding and casting and things like that, and put proper mirrors and things in the sides. But yeah, so that is a sort of starting point, and get going from there.
Hi there, my name's Lotte Fisher, and since lockdown my world has shrunk. So I've decided to make a tiny world of my own so that I can feel big again.
What's happening, wee guy?
So that's what lockdown does to people. But I want to talk about our next guest on the show. This is a multi-talented musician and producer, singer, songwriter, composer, and sound designer, going by the experimental pop moniker Grisly Faye. Margarita Kulchova is originally from Ukraine, but found herself in Edinburgh in order to study. She graduated just last week and intends to stick around Edinburgh for a while, as she says it feels like home. She's released one full-length album, From Far Away, in 2016, and numerous singles, and has a ton of fantastic, imaginative videos on YouTube that I would highly recommend you watch. Hello, Margarita.
Hello, hello.
Hello, can I call you Margot?
Please, can I call you David?
You can call me, you are allowed to call me David, that's fine.
Hi, David.
We played one of your tracks earlier, which was absolutely fantastic. The video was really beautiful too. Do you want to tell us a little bit about how the video came about?
It was a very interesting story because one of the art schools, animation schools from Ukraine, they reached out to me saying, hey, we really like your music. Can we take one of your songs for our students to practice? I'm like, sure, take whatever you want. So they've chosen this song. I gave it to them and I forgot it completely for like, I don't know, for a couple years. And then in a couple years, I received this very random email that says, "Hi, my name is Marina Kizilova, who is the animator of this music video," which I discovered later. And she's like, "I won a couple of awards with the animation that I've done for your music video. Do you mind if I finish it? Because I just did like 1 minute and we can do the whole thing." And I'm like, whoa, first of all, congratulations. And second of all, it's amazing. And we met for a coffee. We discussed how we want to finish it. And when she showed me what she actually did, I was shocked because she did such a strong research on Grisly Faye. Like, she included the artwork of my first EP. She included some of my stage costumes in there. She included the concept of outdoor electronics, which Grisly Faye is. So I couldn't be more grateful, and we finished it together. And I think it was the most amazing, creative, and spontaneous journey I've had so far.
That's really exciting. Your sound is really extraordinary, and it's really unique. I'm not sure how many Ukrainian producers or songwriters I've heard, but do you think that your home has shaped your sound and your approach to music at all?
Yes and no, because I came from the family where nobody was doing music, and I was a bit of a surprise to my family. And they discovered that something is wrong with me. So they like, "We will put you to the choir." And they gave me to the choir when I was 4. And you can imagine like a choir of girls for like 30 people, different age. And there's one little girl on the right who is feeling it. She's feeling it so hard. And it's like very academic kind of stuff. And till I was in my teens, I was pretty sure that world has only 4 music genres, and it was Russian pop music that my mom was listening to. It was Russian prison music that was very fashionable back in the day, that was my dad was listening to. I think many people who know something about Eastern Europe, they'll understand what I'm talking about. And academic music that we were singing in a choir, and a folklore music. And then suddenly I came across so many artists from all over the world. And also I started discovering all the music and heritage of Ukraine that was forbidden for many years of occupation. There was many artists were sent to the labor camps, and we never, like, their works started to appear when I was already basically in my teens, and I could discover where I'm from, what is this. But I didn't make my music, I didn't produce my music before I left Ukraine. So I would say yes and no. I'm not doing Russian prison music. I'm sorry.
I'm so disappointed. I was hoping for a bit of Russian prison music, to be slipped into the next track. I need to find out a bit more about what that is.
I'll send you some links,
Oh yeah, I'll be all over it. That'd be great. Maybe we'll program some at Hidden Door. How have you found your move to Edinburgh? What way is it kind of different to home?
The concept of home for me is very different, because my home is myself and 4 suitcases, 3.5 of which are equipment. And last 3 years, I think I changed 5 countries, so I don't really know what home exactly is. So home is on the move. And Edinburgh was a very surprising place for me, because this was one of the first places in like this past 3 years where I found myself welcomed and loved for no any reason. When I just stepped from the airport and I got on the bus, and I was obviously very sad after the flight, after the passport control, like it never goes easy. So I got on the bus and, I don't have my smile on. And then the bus driver is like, "Oh, good morning. Welcome to my bus." And I'm like, "Excuse me, it's 6 a.m. here." And now during the lockdown, when I would be going around my street and would have my face mask on, I would be passing by some people, and they would be like looking at my face like, "Are you smiling over there?" And if I wouldn't smile with my eyes, they would feel almost offended. And I'm like, "Yeah, of course." I'm like, I'm not in my head, because this is one of the most loving and welcoming place I've been to, and I couldn't be happier. I came here as a master's student. I finished my master's in sound design for film. And now that's why I'm saying that I found this place as my home, because there's so many lovable people, and I'm happy to receive and give this love back.
Wow. How do you feel about the kind of creative scene in Edinburgh? Does it feel vibrant to you? Does it feel maybe less than you expected?
I didn't expect anything. By the moment I moved here, I was so tired and I was so exhausted of everything that was happening in my life. I would just show up and see how it goes. And then when I came here, very soon I realized that I want to sing in a choir. And I started Googling, and the first choir that I found was Soul and Gospel Phoenix Choir. And I'm like, I like it, I go there. So I joined this choir, and it was the craziest experience that brought me back to my childhood choir, because over there I found like 50 margaritas like me just feeling it and wanting to do it and wanted to share this vibe. And this is how I feel the music scene. And each single one of that choir participant have their own music projects, and every time like I'm discovering more and more and more, and I'm like, just keep sending me this music. I want to feel it. I love it. Can I also sing there? Can I also dance there? Can I? So this is kind of Edinburgh music scene as I feel it.
That sounds really great. Well, listen, we'd love to hear you play for us, Margot. So what are you going to play for us for this tune just now?
So this first song that I'm going to play is the song from my upcoming album that let's hope will show up this year. It's almost ready, and the song is called On Repeat. So we'll listen to On Repeat song. Thank you. And also, I want to give a shout out to Jane, who helped me today with the technical support. And Costis, who is over there behind the screen, and you guys should know, he treats us like real astronauts. We're like, he gives us all the most precise and most beautifully sounding guidance over here. To you, David.
Thank you so much, Grisly Faye. We're going to hear a couple more tunes by Grisly Faye at the end of the show. So if you want to stick around, catch a couple more tunes and just kind of bliss out to that, that'd be absolutely fantastic. But before we get there, we've got one more really special guest on the show today. I want to bring on Alex Price from Tortoise in a Nutshell. Tortoise in a Nutshell are a collective of visual theatre makers based in Leith, Edinburgh. Between them, they've created 7 original productions, which they've toured to 11 different countries with over 500 performances in more than 80 cities, towns and villages. Since its formation, the company has won a prestigious Scotsman First Award, 4 Kotorski Theatre Awards for Excellence. It's been nominated for 2 Total Theatre Awards, 2 Archie's Brick Awards and 2 Drama Desk Awards. Tortoise in a Nutshell, how do you do it?
Hi. We squeezed a lot of words into that description for a visual theatre company, don't we?
Yeah, it sounds like you've been very busy.
Yeah, it's been a busy old time. In fact, thanks so much for having us on, by the way, for having me on. Sorry, it's a real treat. It's a real privilege. Thank you.
It's an absolute pleasure, Alex. It's a great sounding biography. Sounds like you guys get around a lot. You must have been to some pretty interesting places. Do you want to tell us a little bit about somewhere that Tortoise in a Nutshell has been that's really kind of caught your imagination?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we've been really, really lucky. I think being an Edinburgh-based company and having all of the Edinburgh festival scenes on our doorstep has opened some really amazing opportunities for us. And yeah, we've travelled a lot as a result with making work and presenting work all over the world. And probably our most remote one, I guess, actually at the end of last year, 2019, we were working for 7 weeks in the Lofoten Islands in the very, very far north of Norway. So it's a long way into the Arctic Circle on, a tiny little island in a town. I think there's 1,000 people in the area, kind of a good area around. And yeah, that's about as remote as it's got. That was kind of 6 foot of snow, trudging to work, 2 hours of sunlight a day, kind of remote. So yeah, pretty remote.
That's amazing. So why does a theatre company need to go to the Arctic Circle to make theatre?
Yeah, that's a good question as well. Yeah. I mean, for us, we've always drawn inspiration from lots of different places, and the environment that you're creating, that's a really big part of it. And that can be the cultural environment as well as the geographic environment. And we've made 2 or 3 projects now with other companies and organisations outside of Scotland. And a big part of that is being able to go and get your head around other people's way of doing things, seeing the points of difference, the points of convergence where you meet. And it gives you this really rich palette to work from. And it really helps reflect back on your own culture a lot as well. The things that really intrigue you about your own culture that you maybe always accepted as, that's just the way it's done. But it gives you that chance to look at them a little bit closer and scratch at them a little bit.
Yeah, it's a really nice way to talk about travel as a part of your kind of creative practice. I really like that. And how do you feel, about travel now, given the situation that we have?
Yeah, it's really hard. It's really difficult. I think internationalism is a kind of an ethos that's really ingrained in our practice, and that idea of looking outwards and going to other places and having other people come to us as well, and that way of facilitating exchange is really, really vital. It'll come back, I really hope. I really think it might be different, and actually maybe in the meantime, the bulk of our work is still in Scotland, is in our local communities, and how we create and present productions and workshops and facilitate work in our local environment. So maybe actually now is the chance for us to look even more carefully at that part of our work, to really think about people here in the here and now, and maybe in the future that's to come, and to think about how art and culture might help and serve them during the times that are to come and the difficult periods that so many different people are living through right now.
It'd be good to give the audience maybe a bit of an idea of the kind of work that you do. So I think we've got some film clips of your work. Let's show that and we'll take a look. So there you are. You get a little sense of some of the amazing variety that Tortoise in a nutshell get up to. Alex, I just got to set something straight. I just got a message from someone that I introduced you as Alex Price, apparently. And obviously you're Alex Bird, not Alex Price. And Alex Price is now currently having a heart attack, thinking that you're supposed to be on the live show. So apologies for that, Alex.
Sorry, Alex Price. You're not having that. You're fine. You're fine.
There's such an interesting mix of live action and puppets and tiny models going on there in the video that we saw. In line with our theme this evening, do you want to tell us a little bit about your approach to creating small worlds and why you do that?
Yeah, sure. Well, I guess we're a visual theatre company, which is a kind of subgenre that quite a few people might have come across. But for those who haven't, for us, I would kind of really simply describe it as we don't start with text. It's kind of in there somewhere, but we tend to look at textures that you can hold, sounds that you can hear. Puppets feature quite a lot in our work as well. And I guess the common chord is it's looking at things that really work on the imagination. And miniature worlds are such a big part of that. And they've always been a really big part of our practice in the way that we work. I guess when we started, it was maybe a little bit more megalomaniac-y in terms of, look at this little world where you can control everything. Isn't that brilliant? But we kind of moved past that point quite quickly and moved on again to this idea that actually there's something really essential about miniatures and miniature worlds. And they really work your eye, your imaginative eye. And I think that's something we really love to hear from people who see our work, is how much they talk about what it did for their own imagination and the different stories that it tells for each different people. That feels really amazing.
Yeah, we probably, our theme of the idea of a shrinking world is we've inadvertently just got a bunch of megalomaniacs and control freaks together onto the show. You guys create all your own material, your own stories, and I'm really impressed by the sheer kind of imagination that goes into your productions. Can you tell us a little bit about your process as a company, how you manage to create such imaginative productions together? Do you have like kind of mad brainstorming sessions, or are your roles quite defined and you all have to kind of pay attention to those?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's kind of a mix of both, I guess. We're a collaborative company, so we don't really work hierarchically throughout the year. So it's very much an open pot for any one person to bring forward an idea to then have everyone mix in on that. I think there's something we really love about what a collaboration of different people's thoughts and ideas can achieve when they come together, and how that kind of can create something really rich and detailed. That being said, it maybe then is a couple of years of kicking an idea around, trying different bits of research and development. We do a lot of storyboarding and animatics drawing as well, which is a little bit unusual for a theatre company, I think. And then we do filter into roles when we get into kind of rehearsal time a little bit more. So you'll see us kind of filter into roles as performers or directors or designers. And kind of that gives us that ability then to focus a little bit more closely on just a single area, rather than keep ourselves too broad, too spread thin.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's a real privilege actually to have you on the show, Alex, and just hear a little bit of the process, that goes into your work. Theatre, I find, is such a kind of magical art form, and it's quite opaque from the outside to know how these amazing productions come together. So, and at Hidden Door Festival, we don't really get the opportunity to find out from our participating companies. So it's lovely to have you on and hear you sort of describe about it. We've not had a theatre company on a live show before. We've only just started doing these shows, but I wondered, as a theatre company, we hear all the time about theatre in the current climate. Theatre's going dark, being shut down, and I kind of wondered what it's like to be a theatre company in times like these, and how you're finding the lockdown kind of as a company.
Yeah. It is really hard. It is really hard. And the Scottish theatre and dance sector is really well connected. There's a lot of really good dialogue and discussion that goes on year round. So to feel that kind of closeness to people, and then to know the difficult decisions that they're having to make that really profoundly affect people's lives, is really, really hard. It's really hard to hear. We've obviously just gone through 10 years of austerity as well. And I think for a lot of people, a key factor of that was trying to keep on working at a level of output that maybe didn't mirror the amount of resource that we had for how much work we were generating. So I think there was already kind of some worries for people about the progress we've made and how sustainable that could be on the scale of resource that we're working on. And then combine in something like this as well, and it leaves a lot of room for worry for people. So I guess that's maybe the scale of the difficulty that people are facing. But in terms of what always really inspires me about the kind of theatre and dance community is its level of passion for constantly adapting, constantly changing, constantly rising to the challenge that's coming up. And I think there's a really big, obvious challenge coming up over the next couple of years, where this process of the kind of social consequences of lockdown for people, those isolation's an amazing punishment more than anything else. So I think we've seen during this period how vital and brilliant and important our kind of healthcare professionals are, and our emergency care professionals, our carers, our service personnel. And I think what's going to really drive people in the cultural sector is going to be how we can also play into that as well, how we can really contribute something back to people, how we can really create work that helps people feel like they can breathe again, live again, express themselves again.
That's fantastic point, I think, to end the show on. Thanks, Alex, and by extension, Tortoise in a nutshell. It's been really great to have you on. So, guys, you've met all our guests for tonight. That's pretty much us now. I'd just like to thank everybody. So, thanking Kat Bruce, Chell Young, Jenny Martin, Martin Elden, Lotte Fisher, Tortoise in a nutshell, and of course, Grisly Faye. All the guys behind the scenes who helped make this happen: Jane, Annie, Jill, Vasila, Stacey, Sylvia, Tio, Viva, and Costis. There's lots of others as well, so forgive me for not mentioning everybody's name, but everyone involved in Hidden Door is really, really valuable and really appreciated. And of course, you guys, the audience, for watching and tuning in tonight. Again, we really, really appreciate you staying in touch with us. We're doing these shows every week. The next one will be on Instagram, just to keep you on your toes, make it a bit different, a bit shorter as a format as well. And then the one after that will be back on Facebook in a fortnight's time. So we'll be looking at different themes for the different shows. So spread the word. Makes a huge difference to us and to our guests if you comment and interact in the show and share the live shows with your pals. We'll be back, as I say, next week with more. So that's pretty much it from us. All I want to do now is hand things back to Grisly Faye, who's going to play us out with a couple of tunes. And from us, goodbye, and take it away, Grisly Faye.
Thank you, David. This song is called Fables. Thank you. And the second song that I'm going to play right now, which is in fact indeed the third song, it's called Crickets. And I want to thank you, Hidden Doors, for having me. And I'm really, really, really grateful for being surrounded with such an amazing artist. Also, I want to send my love to all my brothers and sisters from all over the world who are fighting for their rights. And we hear you, we are with you. You always have our support. Thank you.
and sing aloud.
Thank you and good night.